Welcome to the Portland Culinary Podcast on Portland Culinary Radio. I'm Stephen Chalmers, your host, and I'm really excited. We've got just a jam-packed episode today talking about the Spring Beer Wine Fest, and some of my favorite people in the planet are here. We've got beer, we've got wine, we've got sushi, we've got chicken wings. You're going to kill me. But to get started, I'd like to welcome Steve Willard, founder of the Spring Beer Wine Fest. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Glad to be here.
All right, so this is what, the 23rd year?
23rd.
23rd year. That is just phenomenal. Okay, so for those who don't know, where's the festival happen every year?
At the Oregon Convention Center.
And the beautiful thing about that is there's real bathrooms.
And it's big and warm.
And it's big and warm. So if the weather's bad, you can show up. If the weather's good, still show up, have some great beer, then head outside.
No matter what the weather is, it'll always be pouring inside.
Ooh, I like that. That's very good. And I wasn't kidding about the bathrooms because, you know, some people are not fond of the traditional beer festival porta potty or honey bucket, as you prefer, which I think is a horrible nom de plume for an outdoor bathroom, honey bucket. But no offense to the company, it just kind of makes, really, honey? I don't know. But really clean bathrooms all the time.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a little bit different of a beer festival in Portland because you kind of get the best of everything. You've got beer, you've got wine, distillers, cider, food. Did you start out that way, or how did that evolve?
It just evolved because of the Pacific Northwest and how the great varieties of all these people coming in to manufacture fabulous items, and it just grew beyond beer. So how do we not showcase off all the great wines from the region, and then the distillers showed up, and now the ciders are making their ways, and of course now we have the food trucks, and so it's something for everybody. So you can come as a group, and no one's going to be left out.
Yeah, I had some family that came last year, and they came as a large group. They all split up. They went different places. The cool thing is they all left with bottles of different alcoholic beverages. Sergio had his bottle, and Alicia had her bottle, but they just had a tremendous amount of fun, and they all ate at different places. So that's one of the things that you allow for flexibility. But, you know, I think I think you're actually kind of cheating, really, because I think the reason that you have all those different things is that you love beer, you love wine, you love spirits, you love food trucks. So you've just taken all the things you love and brought it for us to have a taste of the best.
Well, that's correct, but it also, the people who make these, it's fun to be around them, too. They have a real passion for what they do.
That's something that's different this festival than a lot of festivals, because you actually have, as I highlighted you in my second book, Portland Beer Stories, a brewer in the booth.
Yeah, that's how it really all started, because the Oregon Brewers Festival would just have volunteers, and you could never get the information you needed about the beer. So we thought it would be better to do a little marketing, let the guys tell their story, which is really a fun thing to hear about, much better than just having a volunteer going, I don't know what's in this.
Yeah, so not every booth has a brewer, but a lot of, particularly the brewers that know what they're doing, they show up and they are in the booth and you can ask them questions, visit with them. The same with the winemakers. I mean, John from Tessowari is there every year. You can visit with him and talk with him. Lori from Buddha Cat is there. I mean, you get the actual Tess Barr from Hoodcrest Winery. She's actually there. You can bother her and hassle her and then buy one of her albums. That's the thing I love.
Yeah, that's the plan of the whole event, because an educated consumer is a good consumer.
Okay, so every year it happens in springtime, Friday and Saturday, Easter weekend, so that's why the date moves around. Friday and Saturday, noon to 10, both days. And then you always have music, which is a lot of fun. So you have different music, you have different bands. So it's kind of a full, it's a beer festival. I'll highlight it in portlandbeerfestivals.com, but it's different in that you get a lot of other really cool stuff. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's just a big party.
I like this. It's a big party. Okay, so we'll close talking about some of the different distillers and winemakers and cider makers there. But I have to start drinking. I can't wait. All right, Larry. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Doing good.
All right. Whoops. Let me turn on your mic here. Okay. Give it another shot.
Good morning. Doing good.
All right. So Pono Brewing.
Yep.
All right. So in Portland Beer Stories, I did a chapter on Josh Werda, and I actually wrote about Pono Brewing and that it might happen to be around someday, and now it actually exists and it's really here.
Yep.
Okay, so when did you open Pono Brewing?
Last year.
Last year, okay. So, and you were at the Portland Spring Beer Wine Fest last year.
Correct.
And I don't know if you remember this, but you won the People's Choice Award.
I do remember.
I remember you were so happy. You and your beer people just kept getting it and getting it and getting it and thought it was fantastic.
Yep.
So what was that like to finally have your own brewery and have your beer received like that?
It was a great start for us. It's been a lot of work and time, and to get the process going. To have it received like that on our very first event that we poured at, It was pretty much the launching of Pono Brewing. I mean, those were the first beers we made that were there, and that kind of turnout and feedback and the presence we had at the booth for all of us. We were looking at each other, just wondering almost what we had gotten ourselves into, but in a good way, because the reception from people was so positive. So we were very happy.
So, Steve, how cool is that? I know you love breweries and you love brewers. Here's a brewer and a brewery that was launched at the Spring Beer Wine Fest.
Yeah, and not only that, they also won People's Choice Award, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so you've got 2 beers in front of you. This is what you're bringing this year. So tell me about these 2 beers.
Correct. So 2 beers I have is, one is our Southern Whirl. It's a Belgian strong blonde that we put some blackcurrant and raspberry in. So it uses a Belgian Ardennes strain, which happens to dry it out. And the blackcurrant and the raspberry slightly back sweeten it, but because it was so dry to start with, it's not going to be sweet, even though we back sweetened it. It's just a nice, well-balanced beer that you still taste the malt in the beer, but yet you do get that slight fruit flavor and aromatics from. It goes great. It's going to be appealing to people who are not hop heads, and then the ones that are hop heads, we're bringing our El Garote IPA.
Wait, don't go on. Don't leave this beer yet. Tell me the name of this again.
Southern Whirl.
And what's the style?
It's a Belgian strong blonde, and we truly named it after. It was kind of a play on words because it has black currant. And so we thought of the word current, and then I don't know how it happened, but we thought of ocean currents because of the name Pono and the South Pacific island feel that we have to our brewery. And so we just kind of started looking at names of ocean currents, and we came across the word or the name Southern Whirl.
And that's WHIRL.
Correct.
Not Southern World, but whirl, like
got it.
spinning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And by the way, I am wearing my Pono shirt in honor of your
Yeah.
brewery. That is.
We thank you for that.
So, what do you think of this beer, Steve?
Oh, actually, it's really good. There's definitely some fruit to it. It doesn't hide. In fact, the color is really beautiful, too. But it also doesn't finish cloyingly sweet or anything. So it's very drinkable. I really like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Portland Fruit Beer Fest. My friend Ezra does it. Does a great job. But this is, I say this in the best way possible. This almost doesn't taste like a fruit beer. It tastes like a really good beer with some fruit flavors, as opposed to some. I love fruit beers, but some fruit beers are just hit you in the head with sweetness. And this just tastes like a really good beer that happens to have some fruit flavor.
Yeah. No, it was really truly intended to balance the beer out. And one of the things we did was we asked a lot of people if they liked fruit beers, and if their answer was no, we would ask them why they didn't like fruit beer. And so not every fruit beer we make is this way, but we try to make a lot of our fruit beer where you still know you're drinking a beer, that there's just a nice touch of fruit to balance it out. Kind of like a chef does when he's cooking. He'll throw not a ton of garlic in something maybe, but he'll throw a little bit of garlic in it to kind of balance it out and smooth it out. And so that's the way we approach a lot of our fruit beers. With that said, we do make some that are very fruit heavy, but most of them are going to be in this realm where it's nice, light, and balanced. So,
Yeah, and I think this will go really well with your wife's food.
thank you.
I mean, I was at your house for Christmas time, and the spread was amazing, and I want some of this next year at that party.
We'll make it happen.
Okay, so what's the second beer?
So the second beer is called El Garote. It's in Spanish, garote. It was really a play on words, but there's also a song, and there's like a pun that kind of has like a little dirty innuendo, but it really does mean club or bar. And when we came out with our other IPA, it was a tart IPA. People said it was great, but it's just not a traditional Northwest IPA. What are you going to do about that? So we then created this beer to be along the lines of a more traditional IPA, to play along nicely with other well-known breweries who are known for making IPAs. And we think we've done well. It's big, but not too big. It's balanced, mostly late edition Whirlpool hops to get it to 72 IBUs. That might scare some people away from trying it when you say it's 72 IBU, but it's nicely balanced, mostly all on the air, on the nose and in the mouth without being bitter. So.
Yeah, and I know not everybody's a fan of like a hop head, 120, IBU high. I mean, I don't know why they make that high, but this doesn't come across that way at all. Yeah. I get hop flavor, but I don't get a lot of bitterness. Yeah,
no, and that's the way I like to drink my IPAs as well. I don't like to destroy my palate off of the first couple of sips. I want to be able to have a glass, and actually, I want to have several glasses, and that's how we try to design our beers, is we want people to have more than just one glass.
Yeah, this is really good. I'm not a big IPA fan, but which is unusual, I know, in this town. That said, this is a really good IPA. The hops do come through just fine, but what I like is the rounded hops. It's more of like a noble hop that you're using, so you don't have the harsh, sharp edges as it leaves your mouth. And you want another one. This is really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Larry, you have a unique experience that a lot of people have. You have been. He's looking nervous. No, don't be nervous. That's right. So you've been to the Spring Beer Wine Fest just as a consumer, going and hanging out, and now you're there as a brewer. So what's the experience like as a consumer? Think back years and years, a long time ago before you were a full-time brewer.
Sure. I think Steve kind of hit it on the head with what he talked about with the diversity of things that are there. It's basically the first festival that happens before we hit the festival season hard and heavy. So it's kind of, as a consumer, it's a great introduction to new breweries, because there's a lot of new breweries there, or new wineries and other products that are out there. But it's also an introduction to see what might be hot for this coming season. So I think it's a great way to get introduced to those kind of people.
All right, now as a brewer, you came last year, and you're back this year. Yes. Why are you coming back?
Well, we have a title to uphold, I guess, right? No, we truly enjoyed it. Once again, as we started last year, but we're still, in the eyes of most people, we're still a new brewery. Our production is way more than it was back then. So I mean, we're much bigger. We're growing. We're actually in the process now of putting prospectus together to open a production facility and go big. And so for us, we love the publicity. We want to get our name out there. The more recognition that we get, the more people that know about us, more people that drink our beer, for us, it's just a win-win situation. And it's a great way. We're still new. It's a great way to be part of that.
Well, and here's the thing that's going to be different for you this year. This year, you're going to have a lot of fans coming back saying, I saw you last year. Oh, here you are. You've got your distinctive, really cool branding. And so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I actually got a call from somebody yesterday who took my card at last year's Spring Beer and Wine Festival, and he was checking to make sure I was going to be there this year. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, so I got a really important question for you.
Yeah.
So when you're there, are you going to be in front of the booth or in the booth?
I don't know. Last year we tried both, and I think because we came around and stood in front of the booth to meet people as they came up, I think a lot of people really, really liked that we were out there talking to them and mingling with them. And I know, if we're pouring, we're not supposed to be drinking, and we like to drink with our fans. And so for us, we kind of like to stand out there with them and just be one of them and help them feel part of Pono at the same time.
Now that's the difference for brewers, is if you're in the booth, behind the booth, you can't drink your beer. OLCC says that's a naughty no. But so I would be tempted to be behind the booth visiting, but in front of the booth I could drink. Although I'm afraid, if I was with your brewery and I was in front of the booth, I wouldn't make it the whole day. I would just drink your beer and then pass out. That would be it.
I'll take that as a compliment.
You should. All right, now you can have cool T-shirts there too.
Yeah, we're not going to have as much as we had last year. We're actually in between stage of coming out with new swag, and part of that is some new design that's being done and some new hats. And so we're kind of running low on some of the sizes we have from the original gear that we had made. We'll have some, but we're just not going to have the quantities that we had last year. Last year we did very, very well. We sold a ton of swag while we were there. This year we want to we're letting that inventory run low as we bring in the next batch, and it won't be here in time for Spring Beer and Wine Fest. But we want to be out there more and more about the people, let them know more about us.
So here's a suggestion for you, and then I'm just going off on a tangent, and then I'm a big fan of Brewed Oregon. So they are the place in Oregon where you can get beer gear. So we can get your new stuff, have Brewed Oregon do it. You can put up a little store and have your stuff online. But we're going to have Brewed Oregon at the Spring Beer Wine Fest.
Yes, we are.
Right there around the beer section, and they'll have all kinds of local beer T-shirts and beer swag. And so if you listen to this podcast and you want to go get 4 or 5 different beer T-shirts, just come to the Spring Beer Wine Fest, head over to the Brewed Oregon booth, and they're going to be right by the food, by the brewery. So you can see Alex at Wasabi Sushi, get yourself a sushi burrito or a sushi donut, and then buy 3 or 4 T-shirts from Brewed Oregon. Sounds like a good plan?
Sounds like a good plan.
All right. Now, do you like wine? Are you okay with wine?
I do love wine.
You sure? Should we let you stay on a little bit more?
If it ferments, I'll drink or eat it.
Okay. So, Laura, you are with Buddha Cat Winery. You make the wine magic happen there. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, let me turn up your mic. All right. Go ahead.
All right. Good morning. How are you?
I am good. Okay. One more time.
Good morning. How are you?
There you are. All right. So tell us about Buddha Cat Winery.
We're a little craft winery out in Sandy, Oregon, as well as a tasty room out in Seaside. And We make predominantly fruit wines and fruit port style type wines, and a few reds and a few whites as well.
I am just, as you know, a huge fan of you guys and what you do. Every time I'm at a festival and you're there, I come give you a hug, I drink your stuff, I buy your stuff.
sure do.
It is amazing. So just you mentioned something that's super. I love marketing, branding, and social media. I do that when I sparked a bonfire hat. And the genius thing you did is you have a tap room. And where did you say your tap room was?
It's out in Seaside, Oregon. So for a few years, we were the only ones, but now I think Naked has moved in, which maybe goes to show how smart we actually were. So
No, that's just the coolest thing. I mean, because Sandy, it's Sandy. My brother Marco lives out there. We don't
Right.
hold that against him.
Right.
But to be in Seaside, that's just like the ultimate sexiness in wineries.
it is. And when we were opening it, the fellow from the OLCC was like, everybody's moving to Dundee and you're moving out to the coast, which is probably a smarter move. And so I think it's worked out fantastic for us. The people out there are fantastic with us, and all of the tourists love us, and we have a really good, fun time out there all the time.
And you've been at the Spring Beer Wine Fest for a number of years. Every year I've been there, I've seen you there. So why the heck do you keep coming back?
Well, it's a nice festival to go to. Unlike the breweries, it's kind of the end of our festival season, but it's a great place to showcase our new whites and our fruit wines that come out for the summer, and our little beautiful rosé that we make as well.
Excellent. I'm excited about that. Okay, so you brought some cool stuff for us to drink. You brought I love this. So what I'm about to say, if this is a podcast, don't misinterpret this. You have like the weirdest thing I've ever had in my life, particularly from a winery, but people go crazy for it, and then you and Steve have an amazing story. Okay, so I'll drink this, and you tell people what it is I'm drinking.
All right, so Steve's drinking our rhubarb wine, and for those of you who've had it, you love it, and it's one of our best sellers. And actually, Steve and I were talking about the origins of it, and what, you bought it when you were 14, right, Steve?
Right, out in Oregon City, there was a farmer, Henry, and he would sell to anybody.
Yeah, and I guess the Watson brothers were from out there, and they learned it from Henry, and then I learned how to make this from the Watson brothers, which I bought their winery about 5 years ago.
So this is basically Henry's recipe.
I think so, yeah.
So the wine that I'm drinking, how old were you when you bought it, Steve?
14.
So what in the hell were you doing buying wine at 14?
Well, no one else would sell it to me.
And didn't he, like, you put the money in a box and take it and something like that?
It was a little shed that you would go to, and he was an old farmer with his overalls come out, and I think you'd had to bring your own container and fill that up out of a barrel, and it was not as good as this. Let me tell you.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we hear that story a lot from the people who affectionately love the rhubarb wine. We have a big following on the rhubarb.
All right, and so why don't you, someone pass a glass over to poor Larry there, because he looks like he's dying. He wants to try this rhubarb wine. Okay, so your rhubarb wine is kind of, so we're going to have Pear Up cider at the Spring Beer Wine Fest this year, and they make pear-only cider. It's just pear, unless they put a little watermelon in their watermelon one, and they do some really cool flavors, but it's pear cider, it's not apple cider. And so there's no grape in this.
No, all of our fruit wines are 100% those fruits. So all I do is I get really nice the rhubarb, and it's frozen and it thaws out, and then I treat it a lot like how you would a red wine. You let it sit and ferment and soak in all of that beautiful rhubarb, as well as any of our other fruit wines. They're all 100% those particular fruits.
So Larry, have you ever had anything like that?
No, offline we should have a conversation about this, but I'm really intrigued by it because I've really in my life never liked rhubarb, and I think it's because when I was younger, growing up, my mother would cook it, and it would have this like odor when she would cook, and I was just so turned off by it. I never wanted to eat rhubarb.
Sure.
But with that said, we've been pondering on making like a rhubarb Berliner Weiss or something, and as soon as I tried this, it just made sense to me.
So-
And I'm very intrigued by this.
So I love coming up with collaborations. So maybe you could do like a Buddha Cat Pono collaboration
Yes.
and do
That would be
a rhubarb wine barrel aged rhubarb Berliner Weiss.
Yes.
Yeah,
That would be phenomenal.
we'll talk about
All
that.
right.
Oh,
Maybe showcase it next year at the Spring Beer and Wine Festival.
That sounds like a plan.
That sounds awesome. Okay, yeah, because it's and what I find is the first time I said, "What the hell is this rhubarb?" And then I tasted it, and it was good and it was rich, and I want this with a grapefruit salad, or I make I make a salad that I make at home where I have greens and I have a little bit of goat cheese and some blueberries and some almonds and some strawberries and some cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes, and this would go perfect with that, or a little fruit salad or some cheese.
Yeah, it really cuts through like the acidity or the heavy butter of dishes, and so it's because it's so nice and tart. It just has a real cleansing flavor of the palate, and so anytime you have kind of heavier dishes or even something light with a lot of good fruits and things in it, that helps to just kind of cleanse the palate and makes you want to eat and drink more.
Yeah, it's good. And what's funny is that it's tremendously nostalgic for people in Portland. I've seen people go to with, "Oh, I remember rhubarb when I was a kid." You know, it's like they implied they were drinking when they were 6, which they probably weren't. But then they buy a couple bottles and take it home because you're just speaking right to their heart.
Yeah, I always hear stories about, being out in the fields, getting a stalk of rhubarb, dipping it in sugar, and that's exactly how this wine kind of how it tastes.
Yep.
All right, and then the next one, how do you say this? Framboise chocolat?
Yeah, Framboise Chocolat. It's a double gold medal winner at the San Francisco International Wine Competition, and it's was awarded 96 points. So it's one of our highly regarded wines, and it's a beautiful raspberry port style wine, and it has a little bit of hint of chocolate at the very end.
And so there's actual raspberry in it.
Yeah, 100% raspberries, no grapes again.
And is there actual chocolate in it?
A little bit of chocolate essence, an oil like what you would use in a bakery.
Yeah, oh man. This is dangerous stuff,
It is. It's a port-style wine, so it's very much a sipping type wine. It has about 17% alcohol, and we put it in a barrel and age it for about a year. It gives it a little more depth of flavor, a little more roundness to it.
So, and I think of this to me is kind of like fifth date wine.
Yeah.
I mean, you come over to my house, I'll make you a nice dinner, and then we'll close the evening with a bottle of this.
Yes, it's a very luxurious, elegant kind of treat. Is how I always put it, and it's just a really nice sipping wine, kind of with the cigars after dinner.
Well, it's liquid dessert.
Yeah, it is.
All right, speaking of liquid dessert, is it Chat Noir?
Yeah, the whole line of port fruit wines are called our Chat Noir for Black Cat, kind of evening type wines. And so we made what Steve has now is our blackberry port style type wine, which I take it he really likes. So
I love it. It's my favorite stuff. And this is made with actual blackberry.
right, again, it's 100% blackberries, and then we make a wine, a blackberry wine, but this is the port style, so it's a little richer, a little more depth of flavor. Again, it's aged in oak for a while, and it has a little more sugar to it.
Give me your glass
And
there,
then-
and I'll let you try some of it, Larry.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so now what is the
Shuffling
best thing that
glasses
people
around.
should do with this? What do you think?
Actually, it's again a beautiful dessert type wine. You can have it after a really nice dinner. Some people actually use it as to make sauces off of it, and but I just like to sip on it after a really good meal, and around the fire kind of a thing. Maybe if it rains a little more, and that's why it's one of our more fall winter type of wines.
You know what I like to do with it?
What's that?
Put it on vanilla ice cream.
Well, that's what I was
Oh,
just
yeah.
going to say. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. We tried it with a salted caramel ice cream, and we poured it over that, and boy, it was delicious too with salted caramel.
What do you think,
It's
Larry?
fantastic. I think that could be used in a lot of cooking applications as well. I don't eat red meat, but I'm thinking you could make a reduction of some type with some red meat, and this would be fantastic.
Okay, and a traditional Berliner Weiss, you get a little syrup with it that you dump in. What if instead of the syrup we had a little bit of Buddha cat? This right here that you could dump in. I just put some Chat Noir blackberry, make a Berliner Weiss and have Chat Noir syrup. That would be phenomenal.
You're scaring me with all these great ideas.
It's what I do, man.
We're always open for stuff.
So why do you keep coming back to the Spring Beer Wine Fest?
It's just a great festival. We have a really good time there. We like interacting with all the folks in Portland. Steve and his wife put on a fantastic show and are really good to us vendors, and we just get a very well reception from everybody when we go. So we have a great time there, and it's just a fun festival to come to and to hang out for How many hours? 20
22.
hours.
22.
22 hours.
Well, just to warn you, I might actually come hug you again and buy some more of your stuff. I tend
No
to do that
problem.
every time I see you, which I
Yeah,
love it.
No problem. Yeah, enjoy it.
All right. And so, Steve, one thing you mentioned was food carts. Food carts are near and dear to your heart. You're part of Carts on Foster. You have the pod bar there. A lot of great food carts there. You love food carts, I think, for the same reason that you love winemakers and love brewers. It's people just working really hard to create amazing artisan products. And so you get, every year, you have a lot of vendors. No offense to the food carts. One of my favorite all-time beer festival vendors is David at Urban German. His stuff is phenomenal. You've eaten at Urban German, right?
Yes, I have. It's fantastic.
That's a requirement. You have to do that at Spring Beer Wine Fest.
That's right.
So David's stuff is amazing. He does a great job. But then you also every year bring in a couple food carts, which is really fascinating.
Yeah, and this year we've got a new one, Wasabi Sushi PDX. So we're really excited to have them. We've never had sushi before in the 23 years, so I think it's going to be a real hit.
All right, so Alex is a little nervous, but Alex, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I love what you do, so don't be nervous. I'll guide you through it. You'll do fantastic. So when did you open Wasabi Sushi?
Yes, we opened on 2015.
So you opened in 2015. You had a food cart out there at Happy Valley Station.
Happy Valley Station, yeah.
And so that was 2015. And now today, you've got a food cart at Happy Valley Station. You have a food cart at Tidbit Farm and Gardens there on 30th and Division.
Yes.
You're out there at the Pod Bar. I mean, not the Pod Bar. You're out there at the
Car Lab.
Cart Lab out
Yeah,
there with Bo
yeah.
Kwan, of which I
Yeah.
love, Bo Koi Fusion.
Yeah.
And then you're going to open your own brick and mortar, 10th and Madison,
Yes.
probably the end of the month, the 1st of May.
Yes, it's gonna be in the probably we are shooting for end of the month. First we were thinking like mid-April, but it didn't make it. Construction, as you know. So yeah.
And you're gonna have a brick and mortar restaurant
mortar,
with your
yeah.
stuff. You're gonna have beer on tap.
Yeah,
So
beer,
maybe
wine.
you need to take a break from working at the Spring Beer Wine Fest. Walk out and find some good beer. Maybe you could get Pono to be on tap. That
Yes.
might be good. I don't
I
know
like
if
that idea.
I don't know if your beer would be any good with sushi. I have no idea, but it might. You think
fantastic.
so? You think so?
Our Pineapple Express, somebody checked it in online and said it's the best beer to drink with sushi, so we should try that.
Yeah, the sushi and beer will never go wrong. So yeah.
All right, now, Lori Dowd, are you a fan of sushi?
I love sushi and these sushi donuts. Is that what you call them?
Yes.
Yeah, they look fantastic.
Okay, so you'll get to try one in a second. So, do you have any wine that might go good with sushi? You think?
Probably everything.
So we might have to have a Buddha Cat night at Wasabi Sushi where you could check it out. The name of the restaurant would be Wasabi PDX, but you might have to have a Buddha Cat night where you can bring your fans and come have your beer pairings with the different sushis.
That'd be wonderful. We love doing wine tastings.
And I know for those listening, sushis is not a word. I've done 4 other podcasts before this. I drank a lot of beer this morning. Please forgive me. All right. So you, Lori, stole my thunder. So we have before us this glorious sushi donut, which is just a crazy thing. People don't realize. Alex, you were the first person to bring the sushi burrito to Portland. When did you do that?
Yes, it was started on 2016 April. So I started doing the sushi burrito because I figure out I'm making a premium sushi roll, but I want to like people to easy, walking and they can hold and eat. So I'm making with burrito style, but nothing to do with burrito, just sushi with burrito style. I just adopt the word burrito actually.
But can I just go off on a tangent? I want to talk about the sushi dump, but I want to go off on a tangent. Where were you born, Alex?
I was born in Rangoon, Myanmar. Yeah.
Rangoon, Myanmar, and something
Yeah.
used to be called Burma.
Burma used to call Burma. It's in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, and a tough journey that country's had.
Yes.
And see, what restaurant were you that you met your wife Pew?
It's a Phil. It's called Phil.
Called Phil, and it's a prominent restaurant there in Rangoon, right?
Yes.
And then, how old were you guys when you escaped Burma, Myanmar?
Yeah, when I was 18, yeah, I left my country to England. So I was living in London for like 4.5 years. And then 2015.
No, wait. This is really cool. What were you doing occupationally in London?
It was like, I was supposed to study, but I was working on the merchandising for the clothing line.
You were in the fashion industry.
Fashion industry,
You were in the
yeah.
fashion industry.
Yes,
So
yeah.
you escaped Myanmar. You go to London.
Yeah.
You do fashion stuff,
Yeah.
and then you end up in Hawaii with your grandparents, right?
Yeah.
And what did you discover? What did you start doing in the culinary world there in Hawaii?
So yeah, since I was school, moved to Hawaii, and I wasn't schooling. I needed a part-time job, so I applied a job at one of the sushi restaurants. So I started to do with the side dishes job, and then I love doing the sushi. Now I just seeing people making sushi, so I begging for to teach me, and then I learned really quick, and also my wife also, we are love about food is our passion. So then, yeah, we start creating a new stuff. Since I love my color background, my wife is really good tasting and creating things. So then we creating this. We started owning the sushi business now. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was in Hawaii that you found your calling to make sushi. I think that's your calling.
Yeah.
And I know your standard line is that you, from your fashion background, you make it look beautiful. Your wife makes it taste good.
Yeah.
And Pew does phenomenal job. Comes with new sauces, new flavors, new recipes, new dishes. She's
Yeah.
great with flavors. But you do a pretty job of flavors yourself, my man. I mean, your stuff
Yes.
tastes fantastic. I know you're
Yeah.
shy and you're humble, and that embarrasses
Yeah.
you. But I just wanted to mention that because in my journey, immigrants have made my country stronger, and I'm so grateful that you're here and you're enhancing my country, our country, and making things better. And I know it's tough leaving your own country, but you've left for a better place, and I'm just grateful that you're here and blessing us with your sushi and your gifts and your talents and your wonderful kids and your amazing wife.
Thank you so much, Steven.
All right, so you brought the sushi burrito. You're the first one to bring it to Portland, and then you were the first one to bring the sushi donut to Portland. Okay, Larry, you've got one in front of you. What does that look like? Does it look like a donut?
It looks like heaven to me. Paradise.
Okay, so walk us through. What is an actual sushi donut, Alex? We'll eat it, and you talk about it. You go ahead, and now's the time, Lori. Now you can get it. She's been eyeballing that thing. She's been waiting.
So basically, we in the donut is like
You
Portland.
just pick it up and eat it.
Just Portland thing. So I just make this different way to eat the sushi with the donut style. So we have offering right now is a two filling, crab salad filling or the spicy tuna filling. So we put the filling. People choose the filling inside, and then we put some assorted fish, tuna, salmon, and some vegetable on the top, avocado, sesame seed. So yeah, I mean, you can hold and eat it. Basically like you can eat it the way you eat in a donut. Yeah.
Okay, so you've got rice, and then it's shaped like a donut, and then inside there's a filling all the way around the ring of the donut. So what's the filling on the one that I have here?
It's a crab filling.
It's a crab
salad.
filling, and then the other you can get is a spicy tuna
Spicy
filling.
tuna filling too. Yeah.
So you've got rice, you've got spicy tuna or crab filling inside, and
Yeah.
then you layer fish and avocado on the outside.
Yes, and then some Cheeto. I put on the Cheeto. Cheeto is like my favorite stuff. So yeah.
I wish people could see the look on Larry's face. He is stuffing his face. His cheeks are full like a chipmunk. He looks like me. Okay,
Good.
here's the deal. You bite and tuck. That way you can have a big bite in your mouth and you can still talk.
Yeah.
It's the thing I learned,
Okay.
doing TV, bite and tuck. So what do you think, Larry?
I think it's fantastic. It's it's a little bit different to eat than regular sushi because at first I was thinking, how do I pick this up? What do I do? As soon as I heard him say, just pick it up and eat it.
Just grab it and eat it.
Yeah, there's no shame in my game. So I would recommend not putting it down after you pick it up, though. And then, but yes, it's fantastic.
And would that go good with the Pineapple Express?
It would go wonderful.
All right, so we have to
I
do
probably
a,
should hold on, not eat it all yet. We can put that to the test here as soon as we're done.
Yeah, we should probably do a Pineapple Express night at Wasabi PDX when his brick and mortar opens. All right, Lori, what do you think?
I'm still eating it. It's lovely. I love the crab salad on the inside. It's like a surprise that you just find. It's fantastic.
Okay, give me two of your wines that this would go well with.
I think actually the rhubarb would go really well with this, and maybe a really nice white like our Gewürztraminer or a Riesling. Have you been drinking the rhubarb?
Yeah, it's always
It does work really well, actually,
Yeah.
the rhubarb.
I can see that.
It would be great.
I still have some rhubarb left, other than you barbarians who've downed all of yours. I still have some left, and it does work really well with the rhubarb. Very bright and refreshing, fantastic. All right, Alex. So this will be your first time serving food at the Spring Beer Wine Fest. First time we've had sushi. So you're going to have a sushi donut, or you can have a sushi burrito.
Yes, I will provide a sushi burrito, sushi donut, and then I also think about we put the little light one like nigiri,
Uh-huh.
the fish on the top of the rice. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm so excited to see you there. It'll be a lot of fun, and I think you're going to do
Yeah.
tremendous. And I think the fans are going to like it. What do you think, Steve? This is pretty cool.
Oh, it's really good and it looks fabulous. I'm shocked. I haven't seen anything like it before.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be the Spring and Ball and Beyond Wine Festival. This is gonna be my first time. And thanks for inviting Steve and Steven Schumer.
Yeah, this is gonna be great. Everybody's gonna love this.
All right. Well, Alex, thank you so much for joining us. I wish you all the best. I'm excited to cheer you on and keep following your journey. You are a wonderful human being. You're an amazing chef and a fantastic business person. So,
Thank you so much,
the things
yeah.
you put together is awesome, and we will continue to cheer you on, and we'll see you at the Spring Beer Wine Fest.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yeah.
All right. All right, Tina, come sit down here and torture us. All right. So tell us who you are.
I am Tina Mae Shea from Southeast Portland, originally.
So
now
get right on the mic, 2 inches away from it.
Okay, is that better?
Yep, right on it. Get closer. Don't back away. Get right on it.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Now tell us who you are.
I'm Tina Mae Shea. I was born and raised in Southeast Portland, and now I live in Silverton.
All right, so one of the cool things at Spring Beer Wine Fest is we have food vendors where people can buy their lunch, you know, like Alex at Wasabi Sushi or David from Urban German. But then we have culinary treats where people can buy chocolate or cheese, or in your case, what are the cool thing you're going to have?
Barbecue sauces and rubs that are handcrafted by me.
Awesome. So you created the recipes, you make them.
Developed them over time. I think the first recipe I started making, I was 11 years old.
Wow. Okay, I like that. All right, so so you've brought something to torture me. What is it you have brought?
I brought honey habanero hot wings that are baked, not fried.
Okay, and what is the sauce you put on them?
My honey habanero barbecue sauce, which was the first barbecue sauce I started making.
And how hot is that?
Well, it got hotter once I started using fresh smoked habaneros.
You're evil, you know that.
But it's nicely balanced with the honey flavor, so there's a nice balance. You get it layers itself, so you get the sweet, the heat, the sweet. It kind of goes back and forth.
All right, so you've told me these are very hot, so I'm going to wait to try these until we get done talking, because then my head might explode or something. Because my friend Aaron Wakamatsu, the spicicist, he can handle this.
Mm-hmm.
So Aaron, you should come to the Spring Beer Wine Fest and get yourself some honey habanero sauce and try it, because I think you'll really like it.
And then the other hot one I've got is the smoked jalapeno agave. I've nicknamed it the Grim sauce because when you heat it up, it's hot enough to kill a hexen beast.
I like that. That's fantastic. Okay, so one thing we haven't mentioned, you have a phenomenal name for your company. Tell us the name of your company.
Saucy Minx Barbecue Sauces and Rubs.
Saucy Minx Barbecue Sauces and Rubs. That is a fantastic name. I'm so excited you have a really cool, sexy name.
I got it from the movie Love Actually.
What? So tell me that story.
Well, it was originally called Everyday Gourmet. And I met with this gentleman named Steven who basically looked at the name and said, your name sucks, you need to change it. And the original name I wanted was taken for barbecue sauces. So I was thinking about it, and I had just watched the movie Love Actually. And I thought, okay, Saucy Minx. We looked it up, and it was available, so there we go.
And Every Gourmet is great for a corporate name, but I'd rather buy Saucy Minx Barbecue, wouldn't you, Larry?
I would.
Yeah, then Everyday Gourmet just sounds like it sounds too corporate. So I wasn't trying to be harsh. I just wanted you to succeed. But just a plug for myself, your sales did more than double the next year when you changed the name.
Oh, they tripled.
Tripled, yeah. So that's how good I am at branding and marketing.
Absolutely.
I can triple your sales.
And then I put my sister-in-law on the logo, and it's done even better.
Okay, so tell me about this smoked cherry chipotle barbecue sauce.
That one is my newest sauce. It's no refined sugar, so it's technically sugar-free. I smoke pie cherries from Willamette Fruit Company, and so I slow smoke those, and then I add in all of the other good stuff. And the sweetener in it is agave,
Agave, so not sugar.
so no sugars.
Okay.
No refined sugars, no brown sugar, no white sugar.
Okay, and then the roasted garlic and sweet molasses. I love this one.
That one is one of our top sellers. It is oven roasted garlic combined with brown sugar and sweet molasses. It is a party. I did that one because everyone were coming to tastings and they're like, oh, well, we like Sweet Baby Ray's. So that's my answer.
Okay, and then Marionberry. There's real Marionberries in
Oh,
this.
absolutely. I start with whole Marionberries, and when you pour it out, a lot of times you're going to find whole Marionberries coming out of the bottle.
You know, and I think it would be cool if someone could make like a Marionberry barbecue sauce beer. I don't know if there's any brewers at the table, but I've had this Marionberry, and I just like wanted it in some kind of beer. I think it would be phenomenal. I don't know, is that possible? Could you even do something like that?
Yeah, we've actually made some test batches in the past where substituting marionberries in a lambic. So we had a framboise where we used raspberries, and then we decided to try some marionberries as well. And actually, the marrying together of marionberries with raspberries goes very well together as well. So
And so could you do a marionberry barbecue sauce beer, you think?
I'm not so sure how barbecue sauce translates into
More
beer.
likely, you'd want to pair the barbecue sauce with the beer.
Okay, all
So
right.
you
I
would
can
want to
go.
do a food pairing. I don't necessarily think you want to drink barbecue sauce. Well, my brother does.
Yeah, I mean, I love barbecue
I mean-
sauce.
Some of them sounded so good, I wanted to drink it though.
My older brother will actually I've actually watched him put a straw in the bottle of honey habanero and drink it. At my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, he put it on an unfrosted cupcake.
But he was drunk out of his mind.
Actually, he wasn't.
Oh, no, I'm sticking to that story.
Or she dared him.
Okay, so what do we do? So I've got these two beautiful little bags of rubs. What do we do with these rubs?
Oh my gosh, the dry rubs. So you can put them on, just rub them straight on your meat and let them marinate for a little bit and then grill them, smoke them, whatever you want to do. I've actually started working with them and creating recipes. So the Rockin' Red rub, I actually came up with a recipe for maple bacon or candied bacon using real maple syrup and the Rockin' Red rub. And I coated the bacon in it, and then I slowly cooked it, and oh my gosh, it was like food porn in your mouth.
Okay, because I do own ovenbakedbacon.com, and maybe I should do a special article for that domain with this. That would be good. So you're saying maple syrup and the Rockin' Red rub.
Yeah, I've got
And bacon.
Yeah, I've got a recipe on my website, and
And what's your website?
www.saucyminxbbq.com.
Okay, and then this second one I want to mention, Cheerin' Chipotle. Is that hot? Is that going to kill me too?
No, it's not. It's nice. It's got a nice balance. It's actually Cheerin' Chipotle Mocha Rub. So there's chilies, chocolate, and espresso in it. So it'll pump you up. It'll just really. I designed it for red meat, but it's just as good on chicken and turkey and all that stuff.
Okay, and when you've done events. So you did the Oregon State Fair last year. You're
I
going to
did.
do it again this year. So people hearing this podcast later, when it's June, they can find you at the Oregon State Fair. Now, do you put out little samples of the sauces so I can taste them?
I
or-
do. When I do events, I bring out tasting jars and little spoons, and people can taste all of my sauces. And then for those people who are a little nervous, I do have crackers available, but I ask that crackers not go in so that so all of my sauces stay gluten-free.
Okay, that's good. So okay, now I'm unfortunately going to try these chicken wings that you brought with the honey habanero. So tell us again about this crazy honey habanero.
I take the habaneros and I pull the stems off, and then I slow smoke them, put them in the pot, grind them up, and start adding the sugar and the honey and all of that good stuff.
And I think that I'm the only one at the table who's going to eat these. Steve's not into spicy stuff. Larry's excuse is that he's a pescatarian, which is like a Presbyterian, but even better. Lori just isn't into spicy things, so I'm going to suffer. Alex, do you like spicy things? Okay, Alex, you come sit right here at the mic, and you taste these two. Can you handle spice? Because I'm afraid I'm going to die. So we can get Alex's
You're not
thoughts.
gonna die.
I don't know, man. You've built these up.
They're really good. I just warn people that they're spicy.
All right, Alex, put those headphones on and take a taste of it and tell me what you think. We'll see if Alex survives first. Well, he's taking a bite. He looks okay. His head has not exploded yet. You like them, Alex? Are they pretty good?
Yeah, they are pretty good. Yeah. Not that so spicy.
Yeah.
When they're hot, when you heat it up, it does get hotter because when you apply heat to capsium, it does explode in blood.
Then after you chew in it, you can feel it starting spicy. As well.
Yeah, the heat is building, but I'm it's hot. But I'm not dying yet, and I don't like spice at all. Remember, I'm not Aaron Wakamatsu, who has a great YouTube channel, by the way. Check him out. But it's hot, but it's got a lot of good flavor. And I, not being a pig like the rest of you, still have some of my, was it El Garote IPA? And I'm going to see how it is with this. That works. This is great with beer. Did you know that you can pair wings and beer?
Absolutely. That's usually how I eat them.
Laura, can you do wings and wine? Is that allowed?
I think so. Anything's probably allowed with wings.
I think anything's allowed with wine. That's the thing. Well, okay, Tina, I was wrong. Those are fantastic. They're hot. They're spicy. My mouth is on fire, but not so much that I feel like I have to grab, a big glass of milk and down it. So you are an amazing cook. I love that you've created all these own recipes. And I'm excited people get to come to Spring Beer Wine Fest. And it's not just, although I love saucy minx barbecue and rubs. There's lots. We're gonna have Elliott nut butters, all kinds of different culinary treats people can try and enjoy. So that's the cool thing, Steve, is people get to go around and try samples of all this different food, have all these different beers, different wines, different spirits, different cocktails. A lot of the distillers sell their own cocktails. So it just kind of makes for a whole day of a culinary feast.
Yeah, Red Duck Ketchups is in this year, and they have some new things. But you're not going to see a lot of barbecue sauces. What you do see is the best of that. So we don't duplicate too many of these, such as the beef jerkies or other quality foods. So everything's going to be really unique. And, bring a backpack so you can buy some of the stuff and take it on home, because everybody's going to be selling right there, and that's your big chance to get it. So this is a great opportunity not only to hear the story, but to buy the products.
So as we close, just a couple of fun things I want to mention. We have a lot of distillers. We're going to have Vin Distilling, who I love. Michelle Vin and her sister, they do a fantastic job. They do Baijiu. Do you know what Baijiu is, Alex? Have you had Baijiu? Baijiu. You know what Baijiu is? No? You're going to have to go try Baijiu. I didn't think you would. So it is the drink you drink in China. If you're in Mexico, you drink tequila. If you're in Russia, you drink vodka. If you're in Jamaica, you drink rum. That's not always the case, but true. But they sell Baijiu, which is the drink in China. So it's phenomenal. Are you familiar with Baijiu?
I've heard of it. I'm not. Is that the right way to pronounce it, or is it?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, oh yeah. So Michelle told me
All
it's
right.
like bye, Joe. So saying, and she waves. Oh yeah, I'm saying it the right way.
All
Believe you me. I did a Portland Culinary podcast episode with her. Come on now. We'll have Thomas and Sons Distilling. They do some tea spirits, which is just phenomenal, which are really good. And then a couple of the breweries and cideries. Oh, we have Nectar Creek. Nectar Creek is coming. I love Erica Tate. She is crazy and phenomenal and fun. And do you know Erica, Larry?
I've never met her.
Oh, you got to meet her. And then ask her if she'll wear her bee costume and do a dance for you.
Oh.
It's a whole different deal right there. It is phenomenal.
She might steal the show.
She might. And I can't mention all of them, but we have a lot of local, Portland and Oregon brewers. But one that I just recently got to interview from Modern Times. Just phenomenal. We're going to have Modern Times beer there, so we get some of the best from other places. We're going to have Modern Times there. Speaking of M breweries, do you know Michael at Montevilla?
Yes, I do. I've actually been accused of being his twin brother, actually, when I don't shave.
So Montevilla is going to be there. Gateway is going to be there. So a lot of good breweries. A couple cideries. I don't know. Cider Riot, do you kind of...
Yeah, there's going to be 10 cideries.
Yeah, and Cider Riot is going to be... they will just have introduced, next week they're introducing their everyday cider.
Yeah, it's really good. It's so easy to drink. It's most of the things they produce are pretty dry ciders, but this one is got a little bit of sweetness into it, and it's well named because you can just drink this all day long.
And then a shout out to Shannon at High Five Cider. She's going to be there with her quirky little cidery. She's got really cool labels. So what I want you to do, Tina, is go look at her labels. She'll have little characters, pictures for labels. You'll be enchanted. You really will. Okay, anybody else that we want to mention before we close? I mean, there's so many good things we can't mention. Oh, Wolf Tree. A lot of people. One of the cool things with Spring Beer Wine Fest, Wolf Tree is way down in Seal Rock, Oregon, and they won an award at the Oregon Beer Award. They're getting a lot of publicity. My friend Martin wrote a really good article about them for the Willamette Week. But unless you drive hours and hours south, most people are not going to get a chance to have their beer. They're a very small brewery, but we're going to have the Spring Beer Wine Fest.
And they make beer with spruce tips.
They make really good beer with spruce tips. Phenomenal. So that's a fun thing. Oh, one more I wanted to mention. Rusty Truck. They're loyal. They've come every year to the Spring Beer Wine Fest. They're also out on the coast. I love their logo, and they make really good beer. Stormbreaker. Oh, gosh. I love those guys. They're going to be there. And then shout out from Oregon City. So just a lot of fun stuff. I know we've got breweries, we've got distilleries, we've got sake, we've got mead, food. We've got Urban German, Pono, Buddha Cat. Am I going to be able to do anything that day, or just going to walk around and eat and then take a nap?
Yeah, we don't have the cots set up yet.
There we go. You should set up a thing where you can rent cots for your nap. Well, guys, thank you, each and every one of you, for joining me in Portland Culinary Podcast. It's been a blast to talk about your different stories and your different stuff, and I look forward to seeing each of you at the Portland Spring Beer Wine Fest.
All right. We will be there. Thanks for having us, Steve.
All right. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.